Which note is correct? And we're talking about the voice part, so not the bass line. I know the bass line, you could hear it, but I mean, we're talking about the vocals only. So which one's correct? Yes, the third. You're correct. C. I just needed one answer. You are correct, Toby. It's the third one. So this one. So it was the first, second, or third? Is it lime green, blue, or wheat? Two? Congratulations. You see how these are the same note? It's like it's basically like a note that goes in between these two. But I'm only mainly doing that to test your ears. I'm going to now transcribe lyrics of Machine Love. So let's set the tempo to 175, because that's what the song is set to. Song is set to 175. You could either A, like tap it out, B, trial and error, C. You could likely use vocalremover.org to like help figure out the BPM. Finding out a BPM of whatever song that you're like making a cover of is crucial, so that way your canvas or whatever you're working with is always on time. Our Machine Love is, I don't really need to do much or to adjust where the vocals go, because it's just drag and drop, because the vocals are already starting on the count of 1. Notice how like we're not starting like the vocals say like right in the beginning. Your companion on the dead, standing ready for. You want because these two notes, I'm just gonna say notes. I know these two notes are on technically in a measure on counts 3 and 4, which is why it sounds off by the with the metronome. Your companion. So let's drag it to 3 and 4, like this. Your companion. Oops, like this. Your companion on the dead, standing ready for. Now it's in phrase, but I'm gonna keep it the same and like that. Your companion on the dead. Now let's bring out an instrument. Let's say like a sawtooth. So one big thing is having a sense of rhythm and knowing where like the downbeat of songs are. Again, like these are counts 3 and 4, and then when she says the panion and companion is on count 1, because these are pickups. Usually when you're working with the grids in piano rolls or in the sequencer, the best grid to work with is whatever music program you have, whatever is set to 16 notes. So they call it the 16 note grid. It's the best universally, in my opinion. And it might be factual too. So it's going to be like 116 and Vocaloid 6 and 5 and maybe practically all the Vocaloids. It's 1/4 or 1/4 for Synth V. It's still 116 for Open Utal. Now that everything is in time and we've done the pitch test, now it's just a matter of identifying the pitches and placing them in the proper things, the proper spots, for lack of a better word. Your companion. So now there's a note right here. We just need to find that note. Found it. Now we need to find that note. It's a half step up. Again, I am not using music theory. It's basically, whenever you're doing this kind of stuff, you're essentially just ear testing every single time you hear something new. That's literally what it is. Let's actually shorten all these notes just a little bit. So this one right here, let's mute the instrument. So this one is actually a pitch bend. In vocal synthesis, it would be a pitch bend, note bend. But yeah, I hope you guys are getting the idea. But so far we've been working with quarter notes. So all these notes we've been putting down, I mean, kind of aside from this one right here, are quarter notes. So basically, it's one beat per. So once you understand like the basic rhythmic subdivision from the whole notes to the half notes to the quarter notes to the eighth notes to the 16th notes, you will just have a better time. So if we were to put simply, that's a whole note. Those are half notes. So if we open this in the viewer, notice how the notes keep getting halved. This is the basic rhythmic subdivision from the whole note to the half notes to the quarter notes. Quarter as in it's a quarter of the whole note. Eighth notes, 16th notes. The basic rhythmic subdivision right here is very essential for either making your own songs and also transcribing. So let's go somewhere a little more interesting. Oops. A markup chain with a sunny disposition, wrapped up in cellophane for any for your word. A markup chain with a sunny disposition. Let's start right here. Actually, no, let's start right here. Okay, let's put this back on to quarter notes, actually. At least for the sequencer. Not in editing mode. Markup chain with a sunny disposition. Markup chain. Markup chain. Okay, so markup. Notice how you hear one note per quarter note, or one pitch per quarter note. That's because they're in quarter notes. Oh my god, well. So we just have to find those two pitches. So notice how I'm just trial and erroring. I don't know the precise note, but I'm trial and erroring until I hear the right one. Let's actually lower down the. Yeah, there we go. That's better. I'm gonna kind of round out the notes because I know that there's like technically pitch bending going on, but we want to like be simple, you know. Notice how within this quarter note you hear two. You hear two notes, so those are eighth notes. So it's right. So right here. And then shorten it. I just sound like it's a little bit behind.
sunny disposition.
There we go. I know it's not really like falling out of time, but that's just the nature of vocals.
The sunny disposition. The sunny disposition.
Alright, so now you hear like a rest right here. So there's no note right here, but it is on the offbeat of the quarter note. So basically, so right there. Yeah, so this is what transcribing is, and also making music, but let's be honest, most people are trying to make covers when you're using vocal synthesis stuff. If you're wondering why I am teaching, say, in the DAW rather than the vocal synthesis software, is because this is essentially the same thing. Vocal synthesis, the only thing extra about vocal synthesis softwares is that you just have to add words to it. That's it. You just have to add words to it. Each syllable, the vowels. It's the transcribing it's literally just a transcription with vocals on it. It's literally the same thing. So once you understand the basic understanding of knowing the right pitch, or knowing what sounds correct to you, and you have a basic sense of rhythm, those are the big minimum qualifications for making transcriptions or even making music. Now, will it help to have music theory? Yeah, sure, absolutely, but don't shy away because, oh, I don't know music theory. No, that's practically BS. I'm not really using much music theory to begin with my music. It's because I'm using trial and error. And I'm not saying that you have to stick with trial and error for the rest. Go ahead and learn music theory if you want, but I'm just trying to emphasize that you don't need to shy away from like this music stuff, because if you understand the fundamentals of note placement, where to place them, if you just understand the basic fundamentals of rhythm and pitch, that's all you really need to know. And also work on a 16-note grid, because most songs are within like whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, 16th notes. Maybe sometimes stuff called triplets, but it's just uncommon. Now let's move to Vocaloid first. Alright, so same thing with Vocaloid. So we're in the Vocaloid software. I got my voice bank loaded up. It's Miku, almost obviously. An obvious choice. So let's kind of redo the same thing. So let's put in a clip. So draw a clip in. And then now basically do the same thing as what I've shown in Reason. I think I'm correct. I am correct. Alright, so again, it's the same thing. Let me grab the lyrics actually. A Markov chain with a sunny disposition. So let's in the English voice bank. Alright, let me actually A space Mark. I know it says Markov, but let's see. But let me do a mark of. It should practically give me the same result. A mark of chain with a sun mark of. Oh, okay, so there needs to be a dash after the of, and you'll see why. A mark of chain with a sunny disposition. Oh, it's off by, okay. Mark of chain dash, and you'll see why I put that dash there in a minute. There we go, now everything lines up. Mark of chain with a sunny disposition. Mark of chain with a sunny Let's make Miku a little bit louder. Mark of chain with a sunny disposition. Mark of chain with a sunny disposition. Alright. Mark of chain. Now it's solo miku.
Chain with sunny disposition. Chain with.
Okay, notice how whenever I brought up the dash, it's because the dash actually extended this single syllable word. It's so you could use the same word on multiple notes. So essentially note bending. So instead of just it being sounding like this,
Chain with sunny disposition.
it would sound like that.
Chain with sunny disposition. Chain with sunny dis.
It's that small detail that can really go a long way when it comes to your tuning. That's why I did it in the Reason, but it's easier to showcase with Vocaloid. Now, when it comes to finding the phonemes in whatever vocal synthesis software you use, I can only really vouch for Synth V and Vocaloid. You just have to trial and error the phonemes typically if you want to find new ones. But most of the time, whatever words you put in, like English words, it spits out the right phoneme or the right phonetic symbols as shown in the top right, or even to the side, the whatever's in the parentheses, not parentheses, the brackets. It usually spits out the right phonetic symbols. But if you do want to like kind of finesse it to say other things, you have to like think of like other words that have that same phonetic sound. Type it in on a note block and see what phonetic symbol spits out, and you could apply that same technique to both Vocaloid and Synth V, and then that's when you could start using certain phonetic symbols for certain situations. Now let's move on to Synth V. Alright, grid is set to a 1-4 on Synth V, which is essentially 16th note grid. You could just kind of like start drawing right away, sort of.
Chain with. Chain with. Chain with sun. Chain with. Chain with sun. Chain with sun.
I think I was one no extra. Oops. And I'm off. So mark. So when it comes to typing in Synth V, on the other hand, you could do the same thing. Let's just say if I just type in mark of chain on Synth V, but on a single note block, it doesn't transfer it over to the other note blocks after. In fact, actually, one thing you could get away with in Synth V is multiple syllables in one word, but it divides it equally within the length of the note. So if you have, like, if this was a 3/4 note length note, it would equally put each syllable on within the 3/4 note. So it would be like mark of chain, but in this case it's basically within it's kind of like a triplet actually within. Yeah, it's kind of like a triplet within the quarter note. But if you want to say, if you did multiple syllables and you want to add it to the note blocks after, all you have to do is type in plus, tab, plus, or type in the other ones. If you want to put those notes on other note blocks, just add plus on the note blocks, and then it will basically transfer the syllables over.
Mark of chain, mark of chain, mark of chain.
But you either that, or you could just do it manually, which is what I sometimes do. a markup chain with tab, a tab. Sunny, we'll type in sunny, but remember, it will say sunny within that one note block. So we're going to press tab and then press plus and then tab again, and now it's sunny within those two note blocks. Same thing with disposition. So let's do tab plus tab plus tab plus enter. Oh, okay, hold on. Dispo. There we go. Now it should be like this.
Back of chain with a sunny disposition. Back of chain with a sunny disposition.
And there you go. It's not that much different from when we transcribed it in the Reason. Not much different from where we transcribed it in Vocaloid. And not much different from transcribing in Synth V. They're just different nuances. But other than that, like, these are the basics. I don't necessarily want to keep this tutorial too long. I could probably do some micro tutorials here and there. But yeah, those are the basics.